Today I'm here with Matt Ford, who's an entrepreneur that teaches other business owners how to get great success. And he has all sorts of seminar speakings and advices that he does and keynote speaks for people like Bill Walsh, who I've interviewed in the past, for Christopher Kai, who's a best-selling author. He just did an event at my house. And one of the keynote speakers was Matt Ford, who I know from the speaking tours of the Rainmaker, Bill Walsh, who is an epic entrepreneur coach. And you know, Matt's been introducing me to a bunch of mutual friends that have been on my YouTube channel. He knows a lot of really awesome people. And it's really cool to have you come down here because you're from out of town, right? You flew in for this.
Yeah, actually, I live in Las Vegas right now.
You live in Las Vegas right now?
Yeah.
When'd you move to Las Vegas?
November last year.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh.
You know, I'm a local to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So we should be hanging out more.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you have your offices out there?
Yeah, so I'm right off the strip.
Huh, wow. So we're looking at getting a new office building. We should have you come by and do some stuff with us.
For sure, man. For sure, always.
So one of the things I'm deeply doing now is I'm getting more involved with the Las Vegas business community. And one of the people that hosts a weekly event is Tony Hsieh at his home.
Oh, cool.
And if you're interested, on Sundays we have brunch, and we also have on a second Tuesday or second Friday of every month a music jam and a party.
Nice.
And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to get the Wu-Tang Clan to do a concert to raise money for the Las Vegas victims of this recent shooting that's out there.
Oh, very cool. They're awesome, man. And, you know, we actually did a fundraiser. Came out here too for a fundraiser for the Houston SPCA with a client of mine who, for animals affected by the hurricanes. And we also ended up raising money for Las Vegas as well. We had like a red carpet event down in Redondo Beach at one of her real estate listings. So.
Wow. For some reason, I don't know why, I thought you were from Atlanta or something like that.
No, they have good barbecue, a terrible airport. I do like the Braves, the Falcons choke. Outside of that, you know.
Wow, that's great. You play golf?
Terribly.
Oh, we should play golf sometime then.
Dude, I am the worst golfer ever, so yeah.
I started a couple years ago. Got my clubs out here though, because I've been using it as a tool to do networking and business at the same time.
Oh, it's really great for that. Yeah. I mean, because... And for me, like, I like taking people to play golf because I'm so bad at it. Because, I mean, think about it. If you take someone to do something you knowingly suck at, you can't take yourself too seriously.
I'm sure it's the beer.
Yeah. Oh, what was it a friend of mine said one day? We were playing golf and she's like, we need more whiskey. Yeah. That's the solution. We need more whiskey.
The first time I've ever seen two objects at the same time is playing golf and seeing two balls at the same time, playing with my attorneys. And, yeah, it was... obviously a very important business meeting.
Obviously.
You know, I think it's really cool that you're involved in the Vegas community. This weekend, I'm also hosting a party with Steve Aoki, a house party.
Oh, nice.
And we're inviting a lot of local politicians, from the district attorney to the U.S. Attorney General to the governor and the mayor. So,
wow.
If you're interested about it, it's like $500 for the reception and the party. And if you want to be seated at a specific table with a famous politician from Joe Biden or Obama's administration or the local politicians, it's $2,500 for the charity. We also have the commissioner, Steve Sisolak, there, and he's raising $15 million for charity. Wow! And so far, I believe that the charity has now raised $10 to $15 million. We've raised several thousand so far. I'm also hosting a silent auction where I've donated hotel stays and video production services and all sorts of things. It's gonna be an epic house party because we got a $10 million house, a huge house with secret passages and what have you. Also have house parties at my house every month. So if you want to come by sometime, I got great influencers and cool people and what have you at my house. And this party that I'm talking about is gonna be at the house of my friend Jay Bloom, who's on the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Board for the Citizens Review Board with me. And he's also on the Sheriff's Use of Force Board, which I'm probably going to join in Nevada Bar Association's Board of Governors. I'm getting a lot more involved with the community. I feel like getting involved with the local community, you get to meet so many cool people. And it's a surprise how often law and politics actually helps you as a businessman and getting deeply involved. You know. So I guess, how long have you been out in Vegas? You've been out here for a while?
I've been in Vegas for a year. So, you know, it's interesting getting involved in the local community and getting to know people because for so long I basically lived out of airports and airplanes, and I was just constantly traveling for basically the last 5 years, going to like networking events, going to business seminars, making those connections. So it's really amazing, like the path that you'll go down, because if you, like for example, I went to an event so I went to Small Business Expo last year. It was with Bill Walsh, right? And so what was funny about that, I go to that and then I'm like, what do I do? So I go to this event in Raleigh and it wasn't that great, but with Bill Walsh, it was like his birthday, right? So we ended up third row at Drake, which was amazing.
Awesome.
And then so I go to Raleigh to this event and I was like, meh. But actually it was a really cool event. I just know all the people there. And so I did some networking, but I fly out to, I was like, what do I do next? So we were having an event in Vegas like 4 or 5 days later. So I came out to Vegas like 3 days early. And I was bored, so I went to see Bill speak at an event. And then in the lobby, that's where I met Chris Kai.
Huh.
And so we ended up hanging out for 3 days and ended up spending time in Beverly Hills like a month later. So like, yeah. So actually for a month. So yeah, it's really interesting when you pursue a certain path, the doors that actually open up and the connections that you make. Because I've known Bill since 2011. And that was from going to an event that me and a business partner actually weren't planning to go to. It started on like a Friday. We booked our flight on a Wednesday to fly out on a Thursday, like literally last minute. Or, you know, so you start looking at those connections you made and what led you there, and it's kind of crazy.
I met Bill actually at a bar in Vegas.
That sounds about right.
We had a mutual friend, and he introduced us, and I said instantly, this guy's a very intelligent guy. I'll fly you down to Florida and I'll have you train my entire team. And then we created a custom program for him to train our team in Florida and Las Vegas and train our whole team how to sell. It massively helped our company. Oh,
like he is the best closer from stage I've ever seen. And I've seen a ton, but you know, I've known him so well for 6 years, and he's just really an incredible guy too. And it's funny because he does like a lot of parties, but the guy doesn't drink.
A lot of parties. I was at his birthday party in Vegas. He had a three bedroom suite at the Hard Rock Hotel just this year. Like I think that was like a couple weeks ago or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, he's always doing a lot of events, a lot of parties, and he's so well connected. I mean, he knows like everybody. Yeah. So. From like entrepreneurs to the UN, yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about what your business is about and what it is that you really like teaching. Because it sounds like you're not just a person who does business, you just have a passion for educating other entrepreneurs.
Oh, absolutely. So I've been in the product launch space since, 2012. Actually, I was really deep behind the scenes writing copy and everything since like 2005, 2006. And so I go to like a lot of events, I do a lot of networking, and I've got to really know the affiliates. So we do a lot of product launches, and like I've made my clients millions of dollars over the last few years alone from like I write through email copy, I do a ton of retargeting, like really deep retargeting as far as follow-up, and also help them launch their products, in both like recurring information products, software, whatever it may be. So it's interesting for me because like a lot of times like you have the marketing guy and you have the data guy. The blessing and the curse for my brain is I can do both. I can understand the deep data, and at the same time I can understand the marketing. So a perfect example of this was a client of mine's in real estate, right? And so last year she goes to this real estate conference, she is she was a former Playmate, right? And so she goes to the conference and people are like, oh, but so she felt like she was infamous. Now she was like famous because what we did was I literally ran ads to everyone attending that conference. Over 3,000 people saw her video. She couldn't go to Starbucks without being recognized by name. Hey, how are you? And she's like, hey, awesome, how are you? It's like 7:30 in the morning.
I was hanging out with my friends who are producing The Matrix 4. They're movie producers.
Oh, awesome.
And it's actually going to be interesting because they're going to say that 2 and 3 were actually a dream, and 4 is a continuation of part 1. And a lot of people who don't like 2 and 3 are really excited about this because it's going to be the final one ever made. And I was at the birthday party of a Playmate who actually also is from the real estate and investment world, who's building a brand on educating people on how to date. And we're going to have her on my YouTube channel in the future as well.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, because like they can really tell a story because they're exposed to so much from going to just, you know, their everyday life to going to like the glamour conventions to doing autograph signings. I mean, she still gets fan mail. And so even at her real estate office. So it's very like interesting perceptions versus reality of not just like them, but models and like women in general, where people perceive, oh, she's blonde, she's, you know, this or she's that or whatever, and they don't understand like how, like, in order to achieve that level of success in that specific space, you have to be intelligent, you have to know how the game works, you have to know a lot of different things, and you can't be just a pretty face and a hot body and make it.
I would say that is truth for pretty much every industry.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I would say the same thing in ours because we're from the pickup artist industry.
Right.
And people would assume just as equal things about Playmates and pickup artists.
I would agree with that, yeah, for sure.
I think that one of the interesting things about what we're doing here on YouTube is we're interviewing people from all sorts of industries, all sorts of businesses. And one of the things that people find most interesting is their networking skills. And I found that really interesting about you because you're somebody who stayed in touch with me, has actively stayed in touch with me by introducing me to people that might be useful for my YouTube channel. And I'm curious about what you do in terms of networking, what you look for to help you stay in touch with all the people that you meet, since you're also someone who I consider a good networker. Oh,
well, thank you. And, you know, so for me, it's like figuring out like the value that you can offer people because everyone's looking for something different. So even like, for example, I'm not in the pickup artist space, but you have the YouTube channel. So I know I can make connections for you there. But like, for example, like investors are looking for certain types of people. So it's really understanding in what people are looking for. And when you see a connection, okay, so maybe it's possibly the way my brain works. So when I meet someone, it sort of spins like the Rolodex and goes, who can I connect them with? Who would actually benefit? Because there's so many people in where it's like, okay, they just want to get, right? They don't want to give anything. So I'm not, you know, they're useless. Like not as people, but like from business, there's too many people like that. So it's really connecting really legit high-level people with other really legit high-level people. And so in the affiliate world, that's what I do. So like if I can't necessarily help someone promote a particular product, I know that there's something I can help them with as far as like, how do you sell this? Who would be a good connection for you? What are you doing on the email side? Because I have a background in email. I mean, and me and a partner of mine, we were top affiliates at ClickBank and no one knew who we were. Which was really interesting because we were actually sending 11 million emails a day. And we were scaling that out. So it was really interesting because we were doing like BizOp, like real estate offers, health, personal development. And what we would do is I could work out deals with companies. Oh wait, you can't mail your offers, you can't inbox. We'll do that for you. And we were doing rev share deals with them.
Now, for people that are really interested in product launches, as like someone who I think is an expert in product launches, what are the tips that you think that people who have businesses that are on the internet need to do in a product launch to make sure that if these things aren't met, a product launch cannot be successful unless these things are met?
So it really comes down to what I was speaking about this weekend is a formula called CARE. So basically, C is like customers and conversions. And the way you figure out the customers and conversions is basically ask yourself why, but it's 6 whys. In other words, people overthink things. A lot of times we really know the answers, not only to our marketing stuff, right? But to also like why we do the things that we do in our life. Why did I screw up that relationship? Why did I do this? Why did I say this? So why is that? Take 2 minutes, set a timer for 2 minutes and give yourself only 2 minutes, write down 6 reasons why this is. Okay, so your sales copy is not converting. Could it be the social proof? Could it be testimonials? Could it be the sales video? Could it be the headline? Could it be the guarantee? Could it be the price point, right? Now, do the same thing for 2 minutes with each one of those and dial it down. Now you got 36 things to go over. You can like meet with your team on that. You can go through that and map it out instead of spending like a week where your product, like ideal in the world where we have a week to sell the product, right? Then they're going to raise the price, close the cart, whatever it may be. So you got to figure it out fast. And so, but that also works like, you know, in your personal life as well. Like, why do I do what I do? And so that's how you figure out the customers and conversions is like, Who is my customer? Why is this converting? Why is it not converting? The second thing is affiliates. What's really interesting to me is people say, well, I'm brand new to the space. How do I get affiliates? Really easy. Figure out who they are. Go to the conferences, right? Or hit them up on Instagram. Like, I don't care what business you're in. Make a list of 1,000 influencers, right, in your industry. Take out your phone, right? Record a 30-second video. Hey, Nick, this is Matt Ford. I wanted to connect with you. And the reason why I wanted to connect with you is I have someone perfect for your YouTube channel. If you'll just shoot me a message back, I'll do a personal introduction for you, right? That took what, like 20 seconds? Do 30, 35 of those a day. Send them out direct message. That's over 1,000 people, right? In a month. You'll get noticed. I don't care what you sell. If you continue to do that, you will get noticed. So it's influencers. It's like a friend of mine owns a fashion brand. She sells like bracelets made out of bikini string material, right? She's in over 200 retailers, all from cold email. Outreach, get them on the phone, talk to them, sell them. So it's 17 countries, 4 continents, something like that. So that's kind of how you find the affiliates. And then the R would be retargeting. And so how do you follow up with them? Because a lot of times, regardless if the product is $7, $47, $7,000, people don't make a buying decision immediately, right? They buy based on emotion, but they justify it with logic, right? I think it was John Carlton that said, there's a reason the guy buys and the reason he tells his wife, right? So you have to justify with that, like, so with a lot of the retargeting I do, it's not just, hey, you check this out, go buy it, right? It's like, okay, why didn't they buy? It goes back to the 6 whys. So is it too complicated? Do they need to see a case study? So I build out all the objections people could possibly have and run retargeting ads based on that. So it's almost like Inception, right? You want to sort of read the mind. And then email and engagement. So we actually, like on the e-commerce side, right? I have a client, partners of mine. Last year we sold $5.5 million worth of t-shirt and wall art, and we don't stock a single thing. Everything's drop shipped and print on demand. And so we have a 30-day cart abandonment sequence. So like most people send out 3 emails. We send out emails for 30 days. So after 5 or 6 days, we start going story-based, right? Like, so you're asking about golf. I actually have a cart abandonment email that talks about the girl going to play golf and pitches a pair of shoes. She talks about how she got a birdie, but it was a blue jay. So the golf course owner let her keep the blue jay and bury it in the backyard. And she made a cross out of popsicle sticks. I mean, it kind of goes off the rails at that point. But you're always pitching something, right? So if you actually start reading those emails, you're going to continue to read them because it's such a pattern interrupt. And some of the people are like, I don't even know why I'm reading this, and I still buy because there's always a pitch around it. And the other thing is, on the other side of it is also engagement. So run ads to a Facebook group. If you can get them into a Facebook group and start like basically, so you get them in a Facebook group that you see the value, send them a friend request, and then do Facebook Live, both in the group and on your personal feed. Because if, for example, like you have a fan page, but you can do personal, you can do fan page, you can do Facebook Live in the group, and people engage with that. Because we live in a world where everything's become so digital, so autonomous, so much, we hear talking about the future of AI, like driverless cars, but people crave connection. So it's really interesting when you actually send a video to someone or do a Facebook Live and they can engage with you, they can see that you actually care, right?
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned earlier also something that I'm curious about since I just got off a marketing team meeting. Now you talked about how you could create a bunch of ideas, roles, responsibilities, and duties for a team. What do you view as like an ideal team for the typical average client that you work with in terms of like how many people, what they do for a product launch?
Oh, so like on a product launch, you need someone to take care of all the ad copy, which is going to be different than the graphics person. But also really it depends on the scale. So if it's going to be like a product that's going to launch and then they're going to launch something new next month, that's a different thing. But also you need something on the content creation side. So one of the things for, like, example, my real estate clients is a little bit different. I'll take all her videos, I'll have those transcribed and polish them, and those become articles, those become blogs, those syndicate across. Because it's not just about the content, it's how you use the content. So for example, taking that piece of content and running it to that audience. So there's 17 reasons people buy or sell real estate or whatever. It's one article doesn't really do it justice. No one's going to remember all 17, but if you break that into like micro segments and run that as content, you're always showing up a month, 2 months, 3 months. If someone shows up in your newsfeed, for example, or on your Instagram or Twitter for 3 months, do you remember how you met them? Or do you think you might have met them? Do you know if you've met them or not? I mean, it gets blurry. It gets very sort of complex, and that's what actually I'm looking for. So we want someone that writes a copy. We want a graphic designer. We have like the technical person that can, make sure nothing breaks, hopefully. And then, so all those people sort of working together, and really someone who can project manage that while I take care of the affiliates.
Now, as somebody who is aspiring to get more into the business education world, I'm curious about, in terms of your client base, what are the typical, most popular, say, issues that make and inspire clients to want to work with you directly, and how do you resolve those conflicts?
So one of the things is that I'm always very busy. So people say, well, you're really busy. Do you have time for me? Yeah, you don't want to work with someone who has plenty of time on their hands. That tells you something, right? If someone's very busy, but they're functional, like I'm super ADD. I'm like a bipolar Gemini. I'm completely open about that. And but the crazy thing about it is I can come up with different angles that other people can't. So the one thing is that a lot of the clients that I attract have met me at an event. They've heard about me. It's like right before we came on, I just got a message on Facebook about a big launch coming up that they actually want to hire me for, literally waiting, right? And so like the conflicts that people typically have is like when they work with people to handle, like as an affiliate manager, JV manager, they're used to people, for example, one of the challenges is some people only go after affiliates they already have. Well, that's good. And if you have like a really broad base of affiliates that drive a lot of revenue, that may be a full-time thing to help them optimize their conversions. Whereas you also need to figure out another way to bring in that traffic. And at the same time, how do you make those people the most amount of money? It's one thing if they email their, they send out an email for you, right? But how do you make sure they make the most of that? So immediately, say we have a 7-day launch period. Immediately day 2, day 3, usually I just gauge on the numbers and conversions, then I start retargeting. And when I say retargeting, like I push it to the limit. I've run 2 million impressions on just Facebook alone in a week just to retargeting audiences. And that doesn't count like going after cold like interest, different custom audiences and whatever that I already have a buyers. That's just like retargeting. So like, yeah, and like a lot of people don't want to do that because the reason is it's like two different like aspects. Like generally speaking, the social butterfly that becomes like the JV person isn't the data person.
What are the number of clients that you're presently working with? Is it kind of like you trying to chase tons of people, or is it very few people that you're working with?
No, I'm very selective because realistically, if you have someone that wants to do, for example, in the product launch space, they want to like launch a new product and they want to make like 50 grand, you're going to actually spend more time on them than someone that wants to make $1 million because you have to teach them so much. They have no idea what they're learning, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just not the right person for them. They can like do a coaching program with me. I can mentor them, right? But as far as me to go out and like, go out and connect with people to promote them based on the relationships I've built over the last 5 to 10 years, not really a good fit because I need to know that when my affiliates promote, that they're going to convert, they're going to actually do well, and it's a sustainable product at the same time. Because like right now, you see so many people in the software space between, whether it's a product launch industry or very interestingly, even Silicon Valley many times, they're just doing almost like vaporware, right? It's a product to have a product, and it's not something that's actually sustainable. It's very interesting, like you look at Silicon Valley, there was literally a marketing video I saw that they said, profit is important to your business. What? You have to tell people that? But it's very interesting because you look at, they have different revenue, they're focused on revenue and user base and raising VC money versus profit. So one of the things I tell people is like if you want a long-term sustainable product, use a product launch not to necessarily, take profits and put in your pocket, put in a bank account, but use that. Then if you're gonna make $100,000 from that, that's cool. Instead of going and getting venture capital, go take that $100,000 and start doing media buys with it. Do Facebook, do YouTube, and start to scale that because then you can have exponential growth.
I'm always interested in the field reports and the experience of other people. So I'm curious if you could share any specific cases of what you were able to do to make success stories for your clients.
So that's a great question. So really it's finding like the right angle, because no matter how good in the marketing is, you don't know until your sales pitch, whether people have a brick and mortar business and they're selling like real estate or insurance, or if you have a digital product, you don't know if that sales pitch works until you use it. And so it's really refining that, and it's finding those data points that actually convert and being able to maximize it. So like on the retargeting side, on the email side, it's like, I'll give you an example. We had a software that we got postponed for 5 months, and then we had a technical error on on the back end hosting side on launch day, right? And we're like, okay, this is a problem. But if you focus on the problem, it's like, okay, so we got to overcome this. What do we do? So the decision we made was, okay, we're going to start doing 2 live webinars a day, 7 a.m., 7 p.m. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to push the retargeting, right? So I ran ads from 3 different pixels. So I mean, we were showing up everywhere, and just pushing different angles. So it's making sure that you continuously show up. And so for example, that was like a mid-ticket product. We're looking like a $497 software. So what was interesting about it, we'd say, oh, you check this out, go watch a webinar replay. People will watch a webinar replay and then buy. But for example, the webinars were converting, the webinar replay wasn't converting, but because of the type of software it was, they needed to watch a webinar, they needed to see a webinar replay. In the sales page would actually drive so another thing we did, we actually added an exit pop-up where if they didn't buy, they could actually book an appointment to actually schedule a time to go on the live webinar. And if they didn't do that, then we would actually retarget them with the webinar replay. And so it's actually keeping that pitch in front of them, because if you can run, they may say no to this offer, but if you if you sell it 17 different ways, you'll find an angle that works for that person.
Got it. I guess the other thing that I wanted to kind of get was that you speak also in front of a large number of people. And I'm curious, what are the topics that are the most popular that people who invite you to speak will invite you to speak about?
2 things, really: connections, the networking stuff, and also on the product launch side. So I've been doing product launches for give or take around 10 years, sort of between behind the scenes stuff and the stuff that I was more on the front of, in really talking about how to dial the audience in. Because if you look at any type of business, they're always looking to launch products, but as you see physical go to digital, what's very interesting is that you don't see a lot of people who, that's a struggle of a lot of mainstream businesses, right? Whether they're selling diet products or health products or, software or whatever, how do you make that transition to the digital? Because that's where the money is.
It's a lot of work too. I was just talking at our board meeting with my business partner and our CMO about how we have close to 100,000 discs, CDs and DVDs, yet we don't have in this big house a single DVD player or CD player. Now I have a warehouse that has all these things. Now I can make some really cool art, maybe a giant Godzilla made of discs and make it all shiny. But I'm trying to figure out what else people will want it for. I know that maybe I could give these discs away, maybe to customers that might want to have an autographed disc or something from back in the day, kind of like maybe signing an 8-track. I mean, I got an 8-track from Lincoln Park and had them all sign it. I'm going to Memorial of Chester on the 27th.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, maybe tile the bottom of the pool, something like that. But I like the Godzilla idea. That's really cool.
Yeah, maybe you'll put it inside of our new office building in Vegas or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's very cool. I mean, and then there's a story behind it. That would make a very cool video. Here's where the industry is going. Here's where our world is going. Here's the explanation behind this Godzilla, right? It makes it for a very cool piece of content.
So you talk a lot about networking, and it makes sense because Christopher Kai is a great networker, and if you go to an event like his, everyone expects that what he's going to focus on. What were the highlights of the speech that you gave at our house?
Really on like how to launch a product, and really on a lot of the stuff the 6 whys, and how to really distill down like who's going to buy your product, the why they're going to buy a product, and really how to simplify that as a process. Because,
let's go into that. What are the 6 whys?
Really just basically like asking yourself why, like why does this work? Why does this work? And really distilling it down. So if you take like a basic idea of why did I have that relationship, right? And it's like time yourself, like force yourself to write down things. There's no right or wrong, just write down what comes to mind. Because so many times we know what the answer is, right? But we overthink, we overanalyze, we overcomplicate our lives. And we don't want to say, okay, why did I do this? Why did I do that? Why? And basically as simple as asking ourselves why 6 times and then repeating that process. And so you have the bullet point, the sub-bullet, the sub, and really distilling that down from the macro to the micro and understanding. Because what's very interesting to me is a lot of times people are running on autopilot. So if you get in your car and you think about driving, like the process, okay, now I got to hit the brake. Now, how far are you going to get? So we run on autopilot so we can deal with a lot of these things. But if we really distill down why we do what we do, we can really get to like the core of who we are and what drives us. And many times people discover it was something that happened when we're like 7 years old, right? So, and then we keep living that same pattern until we discover it. So for me, I was, part of where that originated from was I used to be one of the most shy people you would ever meet, right? And so a lot of times I've had people think, you're still a little shy? Not really, I get tired. Like if I'm in a crowd of when I was at an event last year in San Diego, it took me 3 hours to get out of the lobby because people knew me, right? They're like, Matt, I want to talk to you, Matt, I want to talk to you. So at a point you get emotionally exhausted. But for me, I used to be super shy. So I reprogrammed my brain based on audio. So on certain level, affirmations work, but on certain level, they don't. So the reason is the reticular activating system, our brain goes, okay, you're saying you were getting better at this, but I got your case file here, bro. I know better. So one of the things I did is I record what I want as an affirmation and also have someone record it as you are doing. So I am doing this, you are doing this, 60 seconds, laid across 5 tracks. So you're hearing it 5 times per minute. That's 300 times per hour. If you sleep 6 hours a night and you listen to it, it's 1,800 times. So if we're in a crowded room, if there's 200 people here and someone says, Nick, you may not hear them consciously, you may not, but your ears perk up, right? For some reason, you're like, what was that, right? And so if we overwhelm the conscious mind, it loads right into the subconscious, and you're hearing that over and over and over, then it starts to dictate our reality. And so that's what actually made a huge shift in the way I think for me, was understanding I could do that and change the way I think. So I didn't have to be, oh, I don't know what to say. Say something. Right?
It's interesting that you mentioned the reticular activation system, because that's something that my business partner Tyler talks about. I've never really heard anyone else mention that.
Yeah, so I had a mentor years ago. He was actually the first person in Canadian history to be forgiven of back taxes due to bipolar disorder. He was a very interesting gentleman because he would, I learned cold calling from him, which was very interesting because he would literally call random numbers and talk to whoever answered the phone. But he was on triple the amount of Adderall. So he doesn't remember any of that. He wrote a 250-page book he doesn't remember writing. And so highly intelligent, highly functional, performed at a super high level, but at the same time, he really pushed the envelope as far as personal performance. And so he would just go 100 miles an hour for 2 years and then check out for 6 months.
Cool. So let's say that people want to get more information about you. How are they going to find out more about what you're working on?
They can check out my website, mattgreyford.com, mattgreyford.com. That has all of my links to my social media. I don't post a lot on social, but I'm actually putting up more blog content. And but I'm easy to reach. I mean, my personal contact information is there. I mean, it's funny, Chris Kai sent me a text and he's like, someone had asked him, he said, who will respond to you at like 2 in the morning? He sends me a text at 2:36. I'm like I text him back. I'm like, what's up? He's like, that's interesting. You responded. Well, of course I did, right? So I'm like that's the other thing on the, like with what I do, I'm one of the easiest people to reach. And I think that is a big thing because so many times, right, you text someone, you may not hear back for 2 days, right? You know, or a week or 6 months or, you know, and sometimes it's not even intentional. Like I have a friend of mine who he'll read a Skype message and he doesn't respond because he responds mentally, but he forgets to type it out. So I have to like ping him over and over the same question so he hears it and he's like, oh, I haven't responded to that. Cool. But super intelligent guy. It's just like how we mentally process stuff. And I think in a disconnected world, the way that what was it Maya Angelou said, people forget what we say, they won't remember what we do, but they'll never forget how we make them feel. And if we can actually create a feeling of connection with people, that's what that makes a difference. They'll remember that even though they may forget what you do. You may get a text from them, you know, 6 months from now. Hey, what's up? You know, I actually got a text from a guy the other day. I met on a plane in 2015. Literally, on a plane. Actually, funny story real quick. I'm actually still friends with someone I met at the airport in 2011. So I was flying to visit my then girlfriend in LA. And she gets off the plane, really attractive girl, and I could tell she was lost. Turns out it's the first time she's ever flown by herself. I'm in a hurry, and I'm thinking, man, I don't have time. Fine. So I go and I talk to her, and so I actually show her around the Dallas airport, helped her find her flight. And still to this day, we're friends. So what was interesting, actually, you may have met her at the event. We actually connected because she was there. So her and her husband were in town for the IMBM conference, and I'm like, hey, do you want to come to this party? Oh, okay. So they show up. So you never know who you'll run into or just the small things you can do.
Sure. I mean, I met my wife just walking down the street in Utah.
Of all places.
You know, I met my business partner on a random internet forum that doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, I think that the value of networking is amazing because you never know who you're going to meet or how you're going to meet them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cheers. Well, thanks so much, Matt.
Great to be here. Appreciate you having me, man.
Cheers.